Hello. Hi there. It's a little bit early. Hi, Celista. Hello. It's a little bit early. Let's wait for more people to join in. And while we're waiting, maybe you can tell me what kind of gel printer you are. Are you a beginner? Are you more advanced? Have you ever done gel printing before? And if so, what are your favorite products to use on the gel plate? Are you printing with acrylic paints, or do you have other favorite products? I'm curious. So tell me. And then meanwhile, I'm trying to figure out how to see the comments on my iPad, so I can actually respond to your comments. Beginner. Let me see. There we are. Yes, 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 yes. I see your comments now. Hi, Mansi. Hi, Anneke, Celeste, Ginger, Diane, beginner from Boston, from Belgium, Joke, a little bit experienced, acrylic paint, messy jelly plate printer. I love messy. Yes. Hello, Geetje. Nice to see you all here. Hello from California. In case you don't know, my name is Birgit Koopsen and I'm in the Netherlands right now. And let me see. I think it's almost time to start today's session. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. So I'm going to print with the mini plates, and we have Gelli Arts has several mini plates that you can use to do all kinds of fun things. I'm going to print with garbage or stuff that you would normally put in the garbage, but we don't do that anymore. Once you start gel printing, you don't throw away anything. In case you watched Tanya this afternoon, evening, wherever you are, depending on wherever you are, she just did a Zoom class for Michael's, and she also used some garbage to print with, so there will be a little bit of overlapping. In case you didn't see her class, it is recorded and it will be available on the Michael's website in about 48 hours, and I'm pretty sure it will also be available on the Gelli Arts YouTube channel soon. So hi everyone. Hi Chantal. Hi Jane. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around and make sure I get everything in focus, and then I will just show you what we're going to do today. So let me see. Here we go. So let me see. I think. Oh. Okay, I think this works. Right? Yeah, that works. Okay. Let me see. Let me start with showing you the plates that I'm going to use today. So Gelli Arts has 3 different sets of minis, and I will try to keep them a little bit closer. Probably the light will be a little bit disturbing, but as you can see, this set has a square and a triangle and a circle. And then we have one with a rectangle and a hexagon and an oval. And then we have a set with 3 shapes that I would not know how to call them in English, but luckily you can see them. So these are the 3 different sets that are available on the Gelli Arts website, of course. And then there are 2 more smaller plates, not like really minis, but smaller plates. And that is the 3x5 inch rectangle and the 4-inch round plate, which is also fun to use. So I store my minis in tins that were originally filled with chocolate, and yes, I ate all of it, and then used them to store my minis. So that's a way to store them. If you have seen me do any lives before, I always tell you to store your plates between copier paper because of the air bubbles. But with the smaller plates, they are so small that it's quite easy to actually push out the air bubbles before you put them away. So that's okay. For the smaller ones, it's okay to store them in the tin. So these are the ones that I'm going to use. And what am I going to do today? I'm going to use the mini plates to create kind of collage type prints. So I'm going to mix and match different shapes to create these little blocks of color with all kinds of different textures. And the textures I'm going to create with what is basically waste. And I'm going to walk you through all the waste that I collected. Not all of it, but a big part of the waste that I collected and that I'm using on a regular basis for gel printing. And if you are new to gel printing, I promise you after tonight or after today, you will look differently at everything, but like really everything in your house, when you go to the hardware store, wherever you go, you will find stuff that you can use to jelly print with, and you will never throw anything away anymore. That's not really good. I mean, if you have a partner, he or she will probably not approve. But what can we do? When you are addicted, you're addicted. So what I have here is a whole bunch of smaller things, like little bottles that will create perfect little circles. And then many different lids, caps from bottles in all kinds of sizes and even different shapes. Cork. And then I have a whole bunch of circles here that are like, I think this is the center of tape, like masking tape. And this is also probably something like that. This is definitely from tape, like the clear packaging tape. This is a bigger one, I don't know. And another one. I have no idea where these came from, but when I saw them, I thought these are going to be perfect for gel printing. These are actually some old IKEA coasters, like rubber coasters to put your glass on, that I didn't like anymore. So now they can create texture on my gel plate. And this is, I think, the middle, how do you call it in English? I don't know, where the sewing thread is around, like for machine sewing. And this is kind of a cap for pencils, I think, something like that. So these are all kinds of circles that you can use to create texture on the gel plate. Then, of course, we have bubble wrap in different sizes, from like really small, like this one, tiny bubble wrap, to a really big size of bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is always good. Then I brought egg carton. So you can use the bottom, which usually has a fun pattern, but I also cut off the top, like this part, and then I can use these to create little squares with rounded edges. And then I have here my pill strips, medicine strips, that are one of my favorite waste products to print with, to create circles and little ovals. And if you don't use any medicines, you could use like the strips that hold chewing gum. It's kind of the same. The little tray that's holding them is like a cookie tray, which also has like a pretty cool pattern on the bottom. And the same for this, also a cookie tray and chocolates, another fun pattern. And so there are many different cookie and chocolate trays. And even if you clean them well, you can use like the trays that you buy your like meat or vegetarian thingies in. And then of course this, which is like a bag where oranges were in, and you have like a smaller pattern if you have like an onion bag. And then there are all kinds of cardboard. Like if you have a cardboard box and you peel off the top layer, it reveals the stripes. And I like it if it's like not completely clean, but when you leave little bits behind, so you get extra texture. If you want to make easier on yourself to peel off the top layer, then I have a tip that I learned from my fellow Gelli Arts brand ambassador Marcia Falk, which is spray it with water, leave it for a little while, and then it's very easy to peel off the top layer. I think actually Marcia is here right now too, and I think Mansi is here, one of the team members. I'm not sure if Tanya is here, but if they are here, they will also answer any questions that you might have. And of course Madison is here also to provide links and answers if you need them. So this is also like a packaging material, cardboard, where I peeled off the top layer, and it reveals a very fun texture to print with. And this is another one also, I think, for furniture, packaging for furniture. So that's really fun. And then finally, one that is, I just got today. I was going to throw away this lampshade, and I was already at the garbage bin, and then I realized that if I would cut it up, it would actually make a really fun stencil. So I've got a whole load of these little squares now that I can use for gel printing. So these are the textures that I'm going to use. At least I'm going to try to use as many as possible, but we only have an hour. I might actually go a little bit over. I hope you don't mind, because at the end of the live session, what I want to do is show you how I bind my gel prints. I get so many questions from people saying, what do you do with your gel prints? And when I say that I bind them into little journals, then people ask me, how do you do that? So I will show at the end today how to bind a tag book like this, and also how to bind a little book like this using your gel prints and turning them into a mixed media art journal. That's what I use them for. I will also show a couple of pages to show you what you can actually do on your backgrounds. And talking about art journaling and mixed media, my fellow brand ambassadors Marcia Falk and Tanya Ahmed and I are teachers in an online event called Creative JumpStart. If you don't know what Creative JumpStart is, it's in January, and it's to jumpstart your creativity after the holidays. And this year is going to be the 10th year, and therefore it's very special. And instead of having 31 teachers throughout the month of January, it will be 45 teachers, and it will run until halfway February. So if you're interested, Madison will put the link to the workshop event in the comments, and then you can check it out, can check out all the details. Let us know the date. It's going to start on January 1st, and you can already sign up now. So there will be a link in the chat so you can find it. Now let's do some printing instead of talking all the time. So I'm going to take a couple of the minis. I will probably not be able to use all of them tonight, but I will do a couple of different ones. What I'm doing is I'm placing the minis on acrylic block for stamping, because I will use them as a stamp, which is easier than the other way around. And you can actually see very well where you're printing, and also have more control than when you would put the tags on top of the gel plate. So I'm going to do it the other way around. And let's take one more. No, that's not going to fit on there. Let's do this one. So now we have 3 different shapes, and I'm going to print on my tags. So today I'm going to print with acrylic paint, just acrylic paint, but of course there are so many different products that you can actually use to print with, like stamping inks and alcohol inks and all kinds of different paints. I always tell people just to play and experiment. There is I never discovered anything that ruined my plate. So if you have any product at home that you're not sure, just try. I've never had anything damaging my plate. So just play. So first I'm going to add some color, like plain color. You can do this in many different ways, but I'm going to build up a couple of layers and start with one solid color. And I'm actually going to put 2 tags next to each other, because I'm not going to print on the whole circle on one tag. So I'm not wasting my my other half of the circle when I print on 2 tags at the same time. So let me do a couple of colors and then do the second layer in one go. So I'm going to add texture in the second layer and maybe even a third layer. But first I want to have some color down, because if you create texture, there will be open areas on the gel plate where you remove the paint, and these areas will be white in your print if there is no color already on your paper. And I don't want that. I want to print on top of a color. So that's why I'm first going to add some color to my tags. And actually I wanted to use a different shape. So let's work on multiple tags at the same time. I can also, oops, if I have too much paint on my brayer, I could also just roll it out on all of the shapes at the same time and then just print it off. I really like printing on different papers at the same time and just go back and forth between the different papers or tags, just where it suits me. I can add color instead of working on one tag until it's completely done. This is also better for using all your paint, not waste too much paint. Let me see for a moment if there are any questions that I should answer about my plate looking very new. Well, I have to admit that I haven't used all of these minis a lot yet, but I recently kind of discovered how much fun they are. So until a while ago, I usually used bigger plates, or I used a smaller plate, but then still like a square or a rectangle plate. And I just recently discovered how much fun it is to use these smaller ones. And so that's probably why they look pretty new, because here I have my little square that I've used more often, and you can see that this actually is a bit yellowish, and that will also happen with the other ones in time. The more you use them, the more the pigments will color the gel plates, but it's not affecting the way they print, so that's okay. Another color, let's add another color. What color? Let's do teal, because that's one of my favorites. And actually it's funny, when I watch my the other Gelli arts artists doing their classes, whenever they ask what color should I use, I say gold because I really like gold, but I don't have any gold here myself, I think, so I can't even do it myself, but maybe I'll find one. Okay. So when I gel print on one bigger plate, I usually use my the paper that I have next to me to clean my brayer before I go to the next color. But when you play like this with several gel plates at the same time, then you don't need to clean your brayer that much on the paper, but you can actually clean them on another gel plate and then print again with that, which is also good if you don't want to waste too much paint. So I think I'm going to do 1 or 2 more shapes, and then I'm going to actually print on top of them to create this collage feel. There can still be a little bit of white visible, I think. How about a green? Oh, this is a new one. I'm not going to open that right now. That's too much work. Oh, I actually found a gold one. Metallic. Also very good to use on the gel plate is metallic paints. Very yummy. It gives a really beautiful shine. So you can imagine that you would think about which paint you would use where regarding opacity. If you still want to see the layer that's underneath the next layer, then you can choose to use an translucent paint, and if you want to cover it, you can choose to use a more opaque paint. But I actually hardly ever look at that. I just go for whatever color I like, and I just go with the flow. And sometimes it happens that I kind of cover up a nice area, but then I can still continue printing on top and make it nice again if I don't like it anymore, because that's the beauty of gel printing with acrylic paint, that you can always add a new layer and cover up areas that you don't like with a new color or a new texture or whatever you like. So now let's add some texture. Let's find some fun texture. So I'm going to start with using the little bottle because I really like that texture. And now I'm going to use a little bit darker color to go over my lighter colors, because then you get a nicer contrast and you will see the texture better. Oh, I should do what I say, right? So using the other gel plate to clean my brayer. And now I'm just going to stamp in here with my little bottle, and I'm actually just removing paint from the plate with the little bottle, which will create the texture. And I'm cleaning it a little bit in between, because at some point there will be so much paint piled up on here on the little bottle that it will not pick up any paint from the plate anymore. So I have to kind of dab that off. I could have done that also on my tag, of course. I didn't have to do it here. So again, I'm going to print on 2 tags at the same time. And there we go. I really like that texture. And there's also some paint left on the little plate, and I'm going to leave that there to dry, because then I can create a ghost print with that. I'm also going to add some texture to the circle, and I'm actually going to use this fun cardboard texture, which will also remove paint from the plate. And I'm going to print on here. Look how fun that is. And it's just waste. Any normal thinking person would just have thrown it away, but not us. Not as jelly printers. So I could use white paint to pull that print, but I could actually also instead use a color like, for instance, yellow. See what happens. And let me see. Of course, if at some point I don't have any area where I feel like printing this particular texture, I can just take another tag and continue printing on there. But look at that. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And let's do the same with the circle. A little bit more. And I'm going to put that one right here. Yes. So let's use the pill strips because we can. And another darker color on the triangle. I think I lost the conversation here. Let me see. Yes, Tanya is also here. Hi, Tanya. Tanya did an amazing class for Michael's just about 2 hours ago, I think. So, in case you missed it, head on over to michaels.com/classes. In about 48 hours, Tanya's class will be available there for you to watch, but I think it will also be available on the Gelli Art YouTube channel soon. And Tanya was showing how to create fun Christmas cards using words, printing with words on Christmas cards, which was really cool. And this is pretty cool too. There you go. And let's do what color should I use? Any suggestions? Let me see. You also, of course, don't have to cover the your whole jelly plate. You can also do like only half, then push in whatever texture you want to use, and then try to move the color that you picked up here to the other side of the plate, so you get a negative and a positive of that texture. And then it looks like this. I think that's a very interesting texture. Pill strips. And let's see, what other texture can we try? Let's do a cookie tray. I think this is a really nice one. Let's see how that, you can see it's very clean. I've never used it. So let's see how that turns out on the gel plate. Maybe I should use a little bit more of that beautiful blue, Prussian blue hue. Very nice color, I think. So as you can see, I said before, I love messy printers. I'm a very messy printer, and I'm really doing my very best to keep it clean and neat because you are all watching me. So this is nothing, but ooh, look at that. How nice is that? So I'm trying to do it nicely here and keep it a little bit clean, but as you can see, I'm not succeeding. Like, my fingers are already very messy. Ooh. Look at that, and that's just a cookie tray. Amazing, isn't it? Let's see what else we can get off there. So I kind of just continue printing like this and adding more colors, more textures, until I'm satisfied. And usually that will kind of fill a whole afternoon or a whole evening, because once you start printing like this, there is no end. There really is no end. Usually there will be, at the end, when you decide to stop, there will be some pages that are like not completely covered, because you keep moving to new paper, new tags. And so yeah, you can spend hours and hours doing this, and that is good, because when you're new, especially when you're new to gel printing, practice is great. Print as much as you can, because that's how you learn. You learn only by doing it. It's not like, there are very few people, I guess, that pull out a gel plate for the first time and do amazing prints. You have to kind of figure out which paints to mix or not mix. You have to find out how much paint you need on your gel plate. You have to find out what products you can use, and there are many more things that you have to figure out, and you will only figure it out by doing it. So if you're new to gel printing and you have done like only 1 or 2 gel printing sessions, and you feel like this is not for me, I don't get the nice prints that everybody else gets, don't give up. You have to practice and watch videos. Watch a lot of videos. The Gelli Arts YouTube channel has loads and loads of videos by design team members, by the brand ambassadors, by even by the co-founder of Gelli Arts. There are many videos with all kinds of different techniques and different products, and watch them and work along with them to get to know your jelly plate. Because once you get the hang of it, it's so much fun. You can do so much with a gel plate that you can't even imagine doing with a brush, for instance, with paint and a brush. And somebody says, Celista says, warning, it's very addictive. That's true. we need to warn you. It is addictive, but it's a good addiction. Look at that. That's the little pill strip again. Or maybe it's a different one than I used before. So I guess you get kind of an idea of how I built up my little collage tags. And of course, I've been going crazy here, and I've used all kinds of different colors on top of each other, and they are colorful and messy. You can also choose to do only a couple of colors, like I did with the tags that I showed in the beginning, and just keep a very monochromatic color scheme, and it looks very different than this, for instance, but of course it's a matter of taste and preference, what you want to do, and of course also on how many layers you want to build up, and if you want any white space or you don't want any white space. Basically, you can't go wrong with this. And it also depends on what you want to do with it after. Is it going to be, like, I can imagine these prints, if they would not be on a tag but on a square piece of paper, that they would just be a card and you could just add a sentiment and that's it. It could be totally done with just a sentiment, right? But for instance, one like this, I would feel like this needs more. This is just the beginning. This is the background. This is where I'm going to use the kind of tags that I'm going to use as a mixed media background, and I will art journal on top of it. And so I don't have to finish them completely. I can just bind them together in a book, in an art journal, and then work in the book. And I will already have a lot of pages with a lot of color and paint already on there, and like a starting point, because a lot of people have this, like, a little bit of fear for the white page, where to start, how to start. And if you just have this, like, gel printing session, and you have all kinds of prints, and you're doing it without any end result in mind, and you have, like, all these tags with all these fun colors and textures, then you have a starting point. You can just pick one that you like, and you can just work on top of that. So I'm going to show you what that means in my case. So tags can be bound into a tag book, and I just briefly showed you this one. So this one I made after my gel printing challenge in October that I did on Instagram, and these are the tags with all the different techniques that I did during the month, and I just bound them together, and I've not worked in it, but I could work in it. And if I would work in it, then it might end up looking like, let me see, I have some here, like this. So if I would art journal on them, these are, all of these tags in these books, in these little books, are gel prints. The backgrounds are all gel prints. And then I will just art journal on top. I can add stamps, I can draw on there, I can paint on there, I can add sentiments, I can cover parts up and let only little parts show. Whatever I want to do on my backgrounds, I can do. And so I have, like, this is actually also a gel print, and I can do whatever I want with it. I can also decide some prints that I like them so much that I don't want to work on top of them, of course. You can do whatever you want. And if you print on rectangle paper, then you don't, then you can also turn them into books. And then you get books like this. So these are also all gel prints. And this is the book I made last year after my gel printing challenge on Instagram. So that's with another binding, and I'm actually going to show you how I bound these books because so many people asked about them. So I did a little bit of pre-work because otherwise it would take too long to show it all to you, but I also have videos available. I have on my YouTube channel, I have a detailed video about how to bind the tag book, and on the Gelli Art YouTube channel there is a video showing how to bind these books. So I think Madison will add those links too, together with the one of Creative JumpStart, and then you can find all the information through the links in the chat. So I already did some pre-work here. So what you need is your tags. And let me see, I'm going to use the ones that I created before. And you need strips of paper, and the strips of paper have to be this exact same height as the side of your tag. And these are about 4 centimeters wide, which would be probably 1.5 inch, something like that. But that's all in the videos. If you look up the videos on the YouTube channels, then you fold these little strips in the middle. And I use an adhesive tape runner. It's a really big one, but of course you can use a smaller one, or you could even use like double-sided tape on a roll. And I'm going to put the tape on the inside of the folded strip of paper. Like this. And then I take 2 tags and I put them with the good side facing each other, the right side facing each other, and I put them in exactly there in the middle of this folded piece of paper, and then I glue them together so I get like 2 pages. And I do that with all my tags, that I have a whole bunch of these like 2-page combinations. And then I use my tape runner again and I go, let me see, I'm going to do it on this side. So I'm going to go all around this tag with my tape runner, like this. And then I'm going to glue all these like pairs of tags back to back, like this. So I'm kind of wiggling them between my fingers to make sure that the sides are even, and I'm holding it upright on my flat surface to make sure that this is also going to be lined out. So this way I'm going to create this little book, and I can make it as thick as I want to. As you can see here how many tags I used here. I could have used even more, and for the other one I made it even thicker. So now I have kind of a book, but it doesn't have a covered spine, and it doesn't have a cover, a front and a back cover yet. So I'm using, let me see where I've put it. It's probably, I've cut it already and now I don't remember where I've put my, oh, here it is. So what I'm using is called physio tape. And here in the Netherlands, you can buy this in like a drugstore or in how do you call it? Where you go to get your medicine and stuff. So physio tape. You can get it in several colors. You can even get it with prints on it. But you can also paint it because it's kind of fabric with adhesive. And so if you don't find the color that you like, you can just paint it with acrylic paint and you can stamp on it and create your own texture on it. Like, let me see, I have one book here, I think, that I actually painted. No, I did. Oh, here I did. So this one, for instance, this is just painted and I used the stencil to create a pattern. So you can just remove the tape, protection tape. And I usually only do it like halfway, so I have a little bit more control. And then I'm going to use this as to cover the spine. So I'm going to the edge here, and then I'm going to fold it all around the little book. And because this is not a book binding tape, it stretches, so it's not perfect to have this on the outside. So that's why I do this first, because you can see that this is all like, it's not nice and straight. So I do this first, and then I take another tag and I will glue it on top. And then I have the cover, and I do it also on the back. So I'm not going to do this right now because on the fabric I like to use like a tacky glue or gel medium for so it sticks better than just the tape. So I will do tape here, but I will do like tacky glue or gel medium here. And then I need these like clips. I put these clips on there for the medium to dry, and leave it on there for a while for it to dry. But then it will look like this. And what you can do, what I did here, is between the front tag and the first tag, I've put chipboard. So I cut a chipboard piece that has the same size as my tag, and I put it between the cover and the first tag, so I have like a really sturdy cover. But you don't have to do it. I have these books are like just 2 tags glued together, and they are thick enough to make a sturdy book. So that's how you do the tag book. And if you have like loose paper, like I used to create this book. So if you print, you can make this like any size you want, as long as the paper, all the pages are the same size. So I have a very small one here, a tiny one, and this one is a little bit bigger. And if I would have taken a bigger sheet of paper to print on, my journal would also be bigger. So as long as all the sheets of paper you use to create this book have the same size and you fold them in the middle, you can make this book. So what I did here is I took the paper, and I don't have any of that paper here right now, but I will show you with the tag. I folded the paper, and I did that with all of the pages. And like I did with the tags, but I don't need the strip in between, I'm just going to glue them back to back. So I'm adding tape to one of the pages. I'm keeping it upright, wiggling between my fingers to get it even on the sides, like this. And there you get your first 2 pages. And you can do this like as many times as you like to create a book like this thick. So what I did here is I used black paper, folded it, created the book, and then glued my gel prints inside. For this book, I used the actual gel prints to do that. So as you can see, you can make them like really, really thick. And you can also make them like only a couple of pages if you like. Of course, you need some paper that is a little bit heavier than normal copier paper, because then you would get a very wobbly little book. But if you want a nice sturdy book, I suggest you use at least 200 grams or 90 pound paper to create a book. And if you do books like this, then you might even want to consider using watercolor paper, because it's so nice and sturdy. So that's how you make the books. And yeah, let me see. I think I'm going to see if there are any questions that I should answer right now. Are there any questions? If I missed any questions, just type them in now. I will, let me see. I will just turn the camera around and then watch on my iPad to see if there are any questions that I might be able to answer. So just a moment. So in case you missed this live, it will be recorded and available on the Gelli Arts Facebook page for you to watch in case you missed it. And now let me see, are there questions? Is anybody wanting to know something? Because I can. Do you have any tips for successful image transfer? Yeah, well, image transfers are difficult, and I've done a lot. I've tried a lot of different ways, and I have a couple of videos available on the Gelli Arts YouTube channel. And the only thing I can say is try, experiment, and try more, because it is a matter of finding the right paint, finding the right paper, finding the right magazine. And it's, yeah, you just have to try. There's not one thing I can say that if you do this, you will have a successful transfer. It's very hard. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to say. What I forget to say about Creative JumpStart is that it's sponsored by Gelli Arts. There will be giveaways, not only from Gelli Arts, but from a lot of amazing companies. So check it out. And I think that's it for now. If you want to see more details on how the books are bound, then go to the Gelli Art YouTube channel or to my YouTube channel. And hopefully I will see you again next time. And thank you all so much for being here. And for now, have a nice day or evening wherever in the world you are. Bye. Bye-bye.